We can start with the assassination of Tsar Alexander II. It was plotted by a terrorist group in Russia, known in English as the People's Will. That was the name of the terrorist group. And despite the fact, and these, again, are facts, that Jewish people represented only 4% of the population, they were overrepresented in this terrorist cell that was involved in the plotting and the eventual assassination of the Tsar. In 1881, which is when his carriage was passing through St. Petersburg, an assassin stepped forward and threw a bomb at his carriage. And the Tsar was unhurt, but one of his soldiers were, and he stepped out to check on him. And at that moment, a second assassin stepped forward and threw a bomb directly at the Tsar's feet, and he died. An incredible, by the way, background of this, the reason why I got into the story is I was just researching the history of radical feminism in our country, and it brought me to Russia and the Jewish women who were involved in the plotting and the planning of this assassination. An American Jewish woman who offered this article, which I sourced in my book, her name is Deborah Hertz, who was interested in why so many Jewish women in particular were involved in terrorism. The article is entitled Dangerous Politics, Dangerous Liaisons, Love and Terror Among Jewish Women Radicals in Tsarist Russia. And I'm just reading a quotation here, but she writes, luckily, we do possess meticulous numbers on the People's Will, a notorious radical organization from the 1870s and the 1880s. These figures reveal that Jewish women were spectacularly overrepresented in this circle. The People's Will attracted 2,193 activists during the decade of the 80s. Among these 2,000, some radicals were 95 Jewish women, who represented almost a third of the only 348 women that were in the party. Moreover, the 95 Jewish women were twice as well represented among the Jewish activists as the Christian women were among the Christian activists. Statistics on the high proportion of Jewish women in the Russian Social Democratic Movement and the Social Revolutionaries, the successor party to the People's Will, also show a very robust participation by Jewish women. When we seek to understand why Jewish women were so attracted to the left movements, we must consider the deteriorating situation of Russian Jewry in these years. The overwhelming majority of Jews were confined inside the Pale of Settlement, the western region of Russia, the former territory of the historic Polish-Lithuanian states. And so what happened after this assassination, what we're told in America is that there were these pogroms, right?